2011, make the prelim off the back of Wooden Spoon. Doesn't happen very often for a team to go from the very bottom to then just, we've seen Hawthorn do it this year to a degree. What was the big change then between 2010 and 2011?
2010 and 2011. 2010, it was interesting that, played 20 games in that year and we win the Spoon. We had a lot of injuries late in that year. Senior players, they sent them off to surgery early. Looking back at it, it was like queue in the rack probably early. And they thought, well, let's go and get this fixed up. Let's make a big run next year. We also, I'm pretty sure that was the off season that senior players stayed away from the group for a certain amount of time.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Were you involved in that? Or you missed
Correct.
out. You were involved.
Yeah.
So 2010.
I was an exception. I got in the group early.
So 2010, you were in it. You'd have been like 23.
I missed all of 2010 with injury.
That's why I won the Spoon.
Yeah, that's why we won the Spoon. Yeah, that's why we won the Spoon.
So you would have been driving this hard. The senior players been away from the group.
Well, no, I wasn't driving it, but we were on the back of quite a few senior players getting injured and not getting through the full season.
Like
and
Coxie,
you know how it was in
Curry.
those mid-2000 years under Woosha, and pre-season was everything. We would be driven to exhaustion and then play a full season, all finals, and then basically have 4 weeks off and start again.
Yeah.
And so they thought, well, obviously this, the longevity of our players is probably the most important thing. So I remember every session we'd go down, the senior players in pre-season of 2011, and go, boys, we better play awesome this year because then they'll keep doing this. And the boys had a great year. To their credit, all of our senior players stood up. I think Walshy came in maybe that year and we changed our game style a little bit. It was very pressure-based.
But what it
Some
did,
of our young players stood up.
What it did, and you wouldn't have known this because you weren't there, but when we had to train by ourselves, there was no senior players on the track. There was no one there to fall back on. What's going on? What's wrong with the drill? What are we going to do? What's the outcome? There's no voice. So it immediately got that group of players, which a lot of them go on to be a part of this successful back end of the 2010s.
Yeah.
And like Scott Selwood's not there in the end, but Scott Selwood, Luke Shuey, Brad Ebert, myself, Nick Nananui, even like Prudis, Hearn, Kennedy.
Good point, yeah.
Like all those guys who are really young at that stage spent an entire preseason without our 10 most senior players there for a lot of the major sessions. And you guys would go and train off-site, get your work in. You guys were fresh and performing and guns, and we were learning to lead, basically. And
that's a great point.
And then, off the back of that, put it all together, you got a young group that's learnt to lead, and you put that together with a high-performing senior players, some of them premiership stars, and you get 2011, which was, prelim. Yeah, we lost to Geelong in the prelim at the MCG. It was a cool run. I was a running backman back then. A bit of a different role to what I finished my career in, but used to run and bounce a lot back in those days. That was just a little teaser of our full episode. They're out Wednesdays on YouTube, and you can listen to them wherever you get your podcast. Go on, get out of here.